This is the Brackett Utility with a belted in feed and hooked up to a Longford feeder. The Longford feeder is sitting on a table which is completely separate from the utility mechanically. The only tie-in is a couple of electrical cords. The Infeed has a guiding system that's similar to a folder. We've taken a belt at an angle and put the roller bar in, and at this point you'll see we have 3 metal balls at the front, so as the work's coming out we sure pull it away. The more weight you put on, of course, the more force you put. Then here's your main power switch. Turn it on, and the other thing here is your conveyor speed and your head belt speed. This is your conveyor and this is your head belt, and it controls both of those speeds with one pot. These are the 2 switches that are your main setup switches. One is the automatic switch, and the other is you can switch that to manual. So when you're in manual, then you can use the jog button, and this would be used for setup or clearing the machine. So once you've got your tape strung in manual and jogged into position, then you would flip the machine over to automatic and everything would start up. There's 3 sensors on the utility. The first one is a Infeed jam sensor, and it is there in case a jam occurs in the infeed section and jams this sensor. It will, for a certain amount of time, it will stop the utility so that you don't lose your tape and the product will continue on after that. The second is the photosensor that starts the head belts of the utility driving. So the product's coming through, it sees it, it tells the head belts to start, and you'll see how that works, telling this and if it doesn't see product for a little bit, it'll stop and wait for a product. So it keeps your spacing for the infeed. The third one is the sensor that tells the Longford feeder when to feed the next sheet, and it's equipped with a time delay which you can control with this sheet spacing feeder delay. This knob enables you to change the spacing between your work. So as the work's coming out and you want your spacing between your work to change, you would adjust this knob, and usually right now at where we're running the machine at full speed, you would be halfway between on the dial. Most important thing about when you're loading up the feeder is to usually and there's some instructions on this, but you're going to get this sheet and you're going to decrease the height of that feed wheel with this, and it tells you lower and raise. So you put your first sheet in, lower and raise until it's just kind of loose on going in, and then you're going to start feeding your work in. And it's best if you try to take at the very first, take just a few and fan them out. So you get them fanned out and you get them into that point, get that point fed in, and then follow with more sheets. Now as you do this and as you become more familiar, you're going to find out how many of these you can actually get into this stack, and too much weight on the stack will start jamming up or causing doubles. So you're going to get a feel for that, and right now we pretty much loaded up 3 inches or so, and just keep adding every inch or so. Seems to work pretty good. Once I've got my feeder set, I can do some jogging with the jog button and see that I'm getting singles coming out. And once I've done that, then I'm going to bring a sheet out and set the infeed up so that the work is going to be about a 1/2 inch from the guide edge there. Always go to the center of the feeder. When your work should always be coming out centered over the feed belt. So now I've got my infeed set, my Longford set to feed, but one thing that's happening is I'm covering the sensor down here that tells the Longford to feed. As long as it's covered, it's not going to feed because it actually gets the signal from the trailing edge. So the only thing I need to do when I'm setting up is just go ahead and jog it out so that this one's out of the way, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn the utility to auto. The main power switch is on and the power switch is on the Longford, so I should switch it to auto. Little explanation now, this gap that you see here, I can widen that gap or I can shorten it. Here I'm going to widen it out, which is changing my spacing just by turning this wheel. Anytime you would change the speed of the infeed of all this belted section of your main controls, you would need to change that also. Got the machine running and I'm going to go to break, or I need to stop for some reason. The best way to do that is to turn this off. So when the work is in the point, when you can hear it feed down, just stop it. Now at that point, all of the work is fed out of the infeed and is now into the utility section. So at this point, I can put the machine into manual, which stops the infeed belt. I could cut my tape and I could jog my work out and empty the machine.